And that percentage goes down drastically for those who attend church less. Some more statistics. The U.S. marriage rate is at an all-time low. So is the marriage rate in the church. I know, such an uplifting conversation, right? But it's real. And we don't hide from it. We talk about it. We bring it out into the light, so we share it. So what is that telling us? It's telling us we have to teach our kids about the value of marriage. We are the ones that are going to change that statistic when we talk to our kids about the importance of Catholic marriage. And we teach them about the true presence in the Eucharist. Because if we don't teach them, who will? Guys, it's up to us. 1 in 2 marriages ends in divorce. Wow, that's a great thing to talk about when we're talking about Catholic marriage, right? But let's talk about this. If a couple gets married in the church, attends regularly, and prays at least once, like the main meal together, that goes to 1 in 50. If in addition a couple finds one other time to pray together, it goes to 1 in 1,000. Yeah, that is uplifting. That is something to dance about and to tell the world about. If we're praying as husband and wife, we will stay together. So now it's time for my personal witness. Oh, talk about yawner. So Gail and I have been married 41 years. The first 20 years, I thought I was a good Catholic. I mean, we never missed, all through high school, college, I never missed Mass. And our children never missed Mass either. Our children were in church with us from the time they were born. Our children went to Catholic school all the way through high school, St. Joe's School, and high school. I handed him off to the church and I said, here, basically, you educate him in the faith. Honestly, that's just me being a little bit transparent. In 2004, I made a Cursillo. You may have heard people talk about it. There's a number of people in this room that have done that. And I have shared with a lot of people. In 2004, for the first time in my life, my faith was truly alive. One of the fruits of that was Christ became a central figure in my marriage. I think Gail would tell you that the first 20 years were good years. We've always had a good marriage. I think the last 21 were great years. A large reason for that is because the last 21 years, I became more the husband that she deserves. Before that, before my Cursillo, I never prayed for her. It never even dawned on me. And we didn't really pray together. I mean, yes, Sunday meals, that kind of thing. Or, at mealtime, of course we did. But never really just prayed together. Now we do. We get the chance to pray together, often. My children, at that as well, in 2004, I'll be honest with you, my children then had the father that they deserved. One of the things I shared with them that night is when I got home that night, I said, the way I send you to bed at night is going to change, because I always said to them, I love you. I always said to them at night, good night, I love you, because that word was not something that was never said in my growing up. It's just not the way it worked. We always felt it. That there was much love in our family when I was growing up, but it wasn't something you vocalized, and I said I was going to change that. So anyway, I did that. I told my children, I said, I will now, every night, I will say, good night, I love you, God bless you. Now, at that time, our older two were, 16 and 18 roughly.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was. And something, and we didn't catch them early enough. Those two kids aren't in the church right now. The younger two, they were much younger. We had the opportunity to have more influence on them. They were in grade school. The younger two are both in the church. I said to you earlier, as parents, I think one of the things that we will be judged on is, did we get our children to heaven? And I have shared, not often, but I have shared, I truly believe on my judgment day I will have to answer for that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to say to God. Ignorance is a defense, and I was ignorant. I didn't know better. But I wish I had. So something for any of you with young children, or those of you who don't have children yet, don't make the mistake I did. Be the spiritual leader of your house. Teach your children about the faith. It will pay amazing dividends.
I experienced the women's Curcio in 2002, and it dramatically changed my convert Catholic self from being a pew warmer, trying to take in what was going on, to really understanding and deepening my faith. But one talk in particular convicted me, and it was the sacrament of marriage talk. So we've been married for like 17 years at that point, and I didn't realize I had my priorities messed up. I was a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids that were in all kinds of sports, and it was I liked it. I was glad I was able to stay home. But I had my kids before my husband. They were my priority. And, I needed to, he convicted me that I needed to reset my priorities. Mark came first, and then the children came along in life, So I worked on changing that. And he also, I fell off my chair that weekend because we were asked, how do you show appreciation for your spouse? And I went, I do his laundry, I fix dinner for him. I couldn't think of anything else. I was so upset with myself. And God told me immediately, well, you know how you can fix that. He said, Mark, at that time, Mark was going to work at 3:15, getting up at 3:15 in the morning and working a full day to provide for our family so that we could send him to Catholic schools. And so anytime there would be like a snow day or no school, he'd say, hey, could you get up and fix me breakfast? And you want to get up and fix me breakfast in the morning? Then you can go right back to bed. And I would snort something rude like, you know where the Eggos are in the freezer, I'm not getting that. And the Lord convicted me, and he said, that's how you can change, you can make a change. So after that long weekend, really tired, I got up that Monday morning, 3:15, and I came out to the dark kitchen, and he's like, is everything all right? Are you sick? And I said, no, I'm going to fix breakfast for you. And he's like, all right. And then every morning after that, I did that. And he's like, this is going to stick, I think. So, and he would say, this is the best part of my day. We get to have, sometimes I'd give him the State of the Niece reunion address when I was worried about money, and we'd talk through all the things without kids distracting us. But he didn't wake up to a dark, lonely house anymore. So, and I did that for a number of years, and I plan to get back to that. But right now we have my 95-year-old mother living with us, and we have a young woman that's lived with us for 3 years with a lot of health problems, and so my nights are up and down a lot. So getting up that early and staying up, not something I can do right now, but we will get back to that.
I'm back to getting up all by myself.
You don't get up at 3:15 anymore, let's just say that. Anyway, we do liturgy of the hours, like evening prayer when we can. But anyway, that retreat was huge for my convert self to take a deeper interest and knowledge of the faith, and to reset my priorities in our marriage. So.
Okay, this is about the end of the marriage part of our talk, but this is something that I actually, oddly enough, we heard on our Curcio weekend from Deacon Justin McMahon. You remember Deacon Justin? I saw him up, by the way, last week. Yeah, Deacon on the Missouri side. The guy's in his 90s, and he still looks like he's in his 70s. He is amazing. But it was something that he said that's something that I want to share with you, because he said, your children aren't the first thing in your marriage, your spouse is. And so this is the advice he gave us. I'm going to share with you. Husbands, put your kids to bed at night. Grab your wife, put your kids to bed tonight. Grab your wife, and with as much sincerity as you can muster, tell her how wonderful and special she is. And repeat this daily. She'll never tire of it.
And wives, or future wives, keep your priorities in order. Learn from me. Husbands came first, and then, if God wills it, children. And we've been asked to speak on marriage panels, once or twice. And I think one of the biggest things that we've been very careful of in our marriage is how we speak to each other. Because once you say something, you can't take it back, and the harm it can do, I have seen it ruin a marriage that was 35 years of marriage, and they are divorced. So words can kill. So honestly, watch how you speak to your spouse, your blessed sacrament, the one you're trying to pray to heaven. And pray for your husband and encourage your husband. It's really important.
One more piece of advice. I missed it on my notes, so I talked to the married men, single men in the room. Something for you. Find that woman who you want to live in service to, who you want to live in service with. Find that woman who you will pray to heaven and who will spend her life praying you to heaven, and marry her in the Catholic Church. Okay, guys, that wraps up our marriage talk. We have a much shorter talk on holy orders because I think probably the majority of you are headed for marriage. I'm not sure how many of you are headed to the priesthood or vowed religious life. Not that any of you couldn't be. You can actually be both. You can be a husband and a deacon. But we have it's also marriage and holy orders, so I'm going to tell you just a little bit about holy orders. The question is, do we want to take a break, Richard, or do we want to press on?
Let's do a 10-minute break. In those that are going to be baptized with their sponsors, come over and